All right, everybody, welcome back to America's Mom. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm your host, Sherronna Bishop, and I want to start out with a quick update on the Sean Combs trial that's happening right now. You might remember him as P. Diddy, whatever that means. I think it's really fascinating because, again, we've been talking about what drives culture. Why are we in the situation that we're in right now? You see the videos that I post over and over on social media of what is happening to our youth, what's been going on for quite a while with our youth. And why is that happening? Has there been some strategic effort, literally a manipulated plan to basically subvert all morals and values and godliness in society and instead have a bunch of little ditties running around? It seems to be the case to me. So I want to continue to highlight this story. I think it's really, really important. So basically, if you've been following, we had an update on Wednesday. Cassie Ventura, who was with Sean Combs for 11 years, she was just 19 years old when they started their relationship. She had had no intimacy with anyone else. She had no experience with anyone else. Essentially, he took this girl, he groomed this girl, he promised her all of these things for fame and to advance her in her career. And she ended up really being nothing more than a call girl. And yesterday's uh, portion where the defense finally comes back to counter everything that Cassie Ventura said during the prosecution's questioning of her was horrific. Now, essentially, what I'm walking out of this with Diddy's Sean Combs' defense is that was his girlfriend. So how could he possibly be trafficking her? It's fine for him to beat the crap out of her. Okay. It's fine for him to tell her to do all these things, excuse me, because they were in a relationship. He wasn't trafficking her. And if you're in a relationship, all that matters is consent. Did she consent to doing these things? And that's really where the defense is going right now. It's been pretty shocking, actually. So, a couple little highlights of yesterday. Ventura, of course, has accused Combs of rape, prolonged abuse over that 11-year relationship, and the text messages came out yesterday. And I'm not going to read those here. It's suffice it to say, she repeatedly messages him throughout the years about mouth sores. I'm not going to get into why these things. You can, there will be more information if you want to read the court filings. But prolific mouth sores and constant and chronic UTIs. Now, remember, these were not like, one evening a week. These were 3 to 4 long days charades, 3 to 4 long days of her having to, quote, perform for Sean Combs with other male escorts or whoever she was being told to party with. Okay. So all of this being caught on video, being recorded, being used as blackmail against her. And remember, she's 9 months pregnant right now during this trial. She could have that baby any moment. She's trying to get on with her life. She's only 36 years old now. And she's having to relive all of this. These were, of course, I want to remind everybody, these are the freak offs that you've heard about. These are the freak offs that they sing about. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. This is what they're talking about. Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, this is what she's talking about. The parties that everybody knows about and goes to. This is what they've been talking about. So, just a couple highlights from the trial yesterday. The defense, of course, has sought to challenge Ventura's claim by presenting text messages that suggested her voluntary participation in events termed as, quote, freak offs, which involved, of course, drug fueled intimate activities. Ventura has countered those messages, said they were sent under coercion and that she was manipulated into participating. And we've talked about that, all of the grooming that took place before Combs launched and basically made her a high paid prostitute. During the proceedings, Ventura was compelled to read explicit messages out loud. Um, a tactic the defense used to imply that again that she consented just because she wasn't cussing Combs out. We've watched the videos by now of him beating the heck out of her. Because why? Because she was on a computer instead of doing the dude she brought in, the dude that Combs brought in. I mean, seriously. So you think she's going to be able to tell him, no, I don't want to do this. I'm not feeling well. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That case is already being made. We've seen the videos. All of us have. She maintained that these interactions were not consensual. She highlights the psychological control which Combs has over her. And again, she was 19 years old. He was her first serious boyfriend, or she thought he was her boyfriend. The trial also has revisited the hotel surveillance footage. We've shown that video already. I'm not going to show that again. It's horrific. It's not normal. It's not natural. Nobody should be treating another human being this way. This is not, the defense's case is very interesting how they're framing this. This is This was a consensual relationship, and this is just how our quote relationship worked. You guys, this is why it matters so much when we're talking about normal, healthy relationships, what constitutes a marriage, what constitutes a healthy relationship. This is not it. The defense contends that the footage was misleading and taken out of context. Yeah, I'm not sure when it's okay for a man to kick, beat, stomp a woman, but apparently we're not understanding it, guys. We're not understanding how much how misunderstood Sean Combs really is when he's beating the crap out of a woman on camera. She's not doing anything to fight back. She's not retaliating. She's not doing anything to even hardly defend herself. So we just don't get it. Clearly, we don't understand. Remember, he is facing multiple charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. And of course, this coward has pleaded not guilty to all charges. If you get a chance to take a look at him, he's looking pretty bad. He is looking old. This guy looks like he has aged tremendously. Counter that with the guy who took out the health insurance CEO, who's all groomed and looking good and taken well cared for in that same prison. It's kind of interesting. I wonder what's going on in there because Combs does not look good. He does not look good. I mean, there's nothing about him that screams, I'm doing well at all. I guess when the drugs wear off and you start to realize what a mess you've made, I don't know. Maybe there's some reality that's hitting there. I don't know. We're going to see. So we'll keep you updated, guys. There will be a lot, obviously, from today, and we'll share the highlights on Monday. Moving right along, international news. I think this has been something we've been covering here on Ex America News and on America's Mom because I think it's extremely important. We first met George Simeon, who looks to be the next president of Romania in just 2 days. We first met him at CPAC in December of 2023 and knew right away this guy's a fighter. He is a fighter. They call him the Romanian Trump and in good standing and the way you would imagine a Romanian Trump would behave. I want to share this video with you just to demonstrate who you're dealing with. Who is George Simeon? And why is it so critical what he's doing there in Europe, not just in Romania? He has taken on the European Union. He has called them out. He wants a good relationship with them, but what's the exchange? What's the benefit of being part of a union that's constantly demoralizing your nation, making you pay if you won't go along, indebting you, taking your manufacturing, and not allowing you to love your own country more? Take a listen as George Simeon, the proposed future president, in just 2 days after the next vote, it'll take place on the 18th. Listen to what he had to say to the mainstream media.
Din păcate, în Franța, ca și în alte țări din vest, de fapt, cred că auziți, nu? În românește.
Vous avez perdu le lien avec les ancêtres, avec vos héros.
Și nu mai știți cine sunteți.
Et vous ne savez plus qui vous êtes.
Este timpul să reveniți la tradiții, la credință.
C'est le moment pour vous de revenir aux traditions à la foi.
Să nu vă mai mutilați copiii cu operații de schimbare de sex.
Vai, incredibil! Incredibil!
Și să vă concentrați pe prosperitate.
De vous concentrer sur la prospérité économique.
Incredibil!
La politique française sur l'immigration et la sécurité. On a commencé.
Ce părere aveți despre politica franceză de securitate și de imigrație?
Un peu plus comment vous jugez l'immigration et la sécurité en France?
Cum am spus mai devreme,
je vous le disais tout à l'heure,
este o politică de autodistrugere.
C'est une politique d'autodestruction.
Vă faceți rău singuri.
George Simeon, in a live debate, called out France and was saying, of course, you've left God, you've left traditional values, you've left your own culture, you don't even know who you are. You need to stop mutilating children. And you need to stop transporting and transplanting all of these migrants from third world countries who don't share your values. He goes on to continue just to lay it out exactly what we know and understand here in America. In order for a nation to be great, it must be secure. It must be based on something more than the next whim, the next woke whim. And in this case, he is calling for a return to God, to traditional family values, and to morals in order to rule justly. I'm very, very excited for him. We're going to be following what happens, and hopefully we'll have I know we will have a really, really great report for you on Monday. Now, the reason it's significant with George Simeon, I just want to point this out again. He's leading the charge in Europe. Make Europe Great Again was started by George Simeon. Okay. He's not just a voice for Romania. He is a voice for all of Europe. And because of his courage, because he has been relentless in pursuing freedom and liberty for the Romanian people, it's catching. Look at what's happening in Poland, in Hungary, and actually there are subsequent factions in all of the European countries that are standing up as best as they can, even with the constant squashing of the EU. Even in Germany, Germany has gone so far as to basically, well, not basically, yes, to criminalize opposition parties that want Germany to be great again. Everybody is wanting to return to their roots, return to their nation's values so they can be strong and independent and be able to provide the life that we all want to provide for our families, for our children. They want a future, they want hope there, and instead they're being decimated and by these woke globalists, these ideologists who do not love freedom. Right? This is the whole idea of the 2030 agenda, and they're playing it out in Europe first. And George Simeon, he is the leader of the charge to take back independence and freedom away from these not just globalist oligarchs, but literally the New World Order. And we are praying for him and praying for victory. Another man who is making the headlines right now because he is about to go toe to toe with the voting machine companies. Mike Lindell is going to be standing trial in Colorado on June 2nd, and he's sharing this message out for you.
Hello, everyone. I want to personally thank you all for your support over the last 4.5 years. As you know, over 75 people and companies, including myself and MyPillow, were sued by the voting machine companies and their affiliates. All of them so far have either settled with their insurance companies settle, or they did it themselves because of fear of ongoing lawfare and going broke. Well, I will not settle. I told you all I would not settle, and now one of my cases is finally going to jury trial June 2nd. I believe it's going to be one of the most important trials ever. We have to save our country, and I believe that this is going to be the gateway to getting rid of the machines. I need to have the best defense that we can get. We cannot afford to lose this. I've given everything I have. And with your help, we can win, and this will be the gateway to secure our elections forever. This isn't just about me, though. It's about every person's right to free speech and fair elections. The trial begins June 2nd, and now I urgently need your financial support to cover the massive expenses. Every dollar makes a difference, so please go right now and donate anything you can afford. And if you can't afford anything today, please put us in your prayers. We have to win this, everybody. Thank you, and God bless.
So just a little backstory on what's been happening there for the last 4.5 years. You might remember that Fox News was sued, OAN was sued, Newsmax was sued, Sidney Powell was sued, John Eastman was sued. The list goes on and on and on. Over 19 people were sued for, quote, defamation for challenging the results of the election based on the electronic voting machine companies. This is not just about Mike Lindell. This is about, do you have the right to say what you want to say in America still, especially over what's supposed to be a privately held company and employees who work in that company. Since when in America do you actually dole out billion-dollar rewards to silence and shut oppositional thought down? And not to mention that Mike Lindell has gone well out of his way to prove what he has said about the electronic voting machines. In fact, we're going to be talking about that today, guys, in just a few minutes. Jeff O'Donnell is going to be joining us, not yet, but shortly here. And we're going to be going over again the reports that he finalized off of Mesa County's images in that Clerk Tina Peters secured. And Mike Lindell has been one of the largest proponents and supporters over that information, securing that information, securing those reports and the experts who put them together. Don't forget, that was a huge highlight of the Cyber Symposium that Mike Lindell held in August of 2021. And it was after that symposium that a cease and desist order was filed first. And then these companies literally filed lawsuits against anyone who dared to speak out against them. What we've learned recently regarding Smartmatic is very fascinating. They denied having an outside donor for their company to give them a valuation of $400 million. Remember, they said the reason that they're able to sue everybody is because they suffered irreparable damages, and it massively hit their value with people like Mike Lindell questioning them because they have a huge platform, right? That valuation was false. They were being funded by an outside mega billionaire who was contributing to the value of that company to make it look a lot bigger than it actually was. And what's bad for Smartmatic is that they actually denied it in court proceedings in 23. They denied that they had an outside donor. They denied that they had any monetary support and backing and that anyone was propping them up. Well, it was a lie. And we're going to be very fascinated to see how that plays out as well. But for now, Mike Lindell is going to be standing trial. This will be a jury, this will be a jury trial. I can hardly believe it. A jury trial in Denver, Colorado on June 2nd. My understanding is there will also be a prayer vigil and a press conference. So we want everybody in Colorado and surrounding states. And if you're following the work of Mike Lindell and what's been happening there, we want everybody to make their way to Denver, Colorado on June 2nd. It's going to be a great time. And I think it's going to be very fascinating to see how I think it's Judge Wang rules on this case, how long this case takes to deliberate by the trial or by the jury rather. It's going to be fascinating. So I want everybody on board watching and share his information out. It has been a wildly expensive ride. You all know that Mike Lindell has already put everything that he has into fighting the deep state and fighting these electronic voting machine companies. And now at this point, he is dependent on great American citizens like you. So take a minute, go check it out. Go check out the campaign. It's Mike Lindell Legal Defense Fund.com. You can also find it on GiveSendGo/Lindell. All right. We've got a real problem, you guys. We've got a huge problem. How many of you guys are like me and you used to waitress? And you knew that when they called 86, that means kill the item. It means it's gone, it's over, it's done, there's no more. Kill the item. Well, James Comey, I guess he didn't grow up doing like normal work like we all do. He didn't work in a restaurant. I guess he didn't know what 86 meant. I guess he didn't know what 8647 meant. Take a look at this picture. James Comey, just a couple days ago, posts this picture up. 8647. 86 means kill it. It's over, right? It's over, it's done, it's gone. We don't have it anymore. Kill it. 47, obviously referencing President Trump. This is James Comey, the former FBI director. Here's another little fascinating thing I learned, though, before we let that go. Hang on a second. I wasn't thinking I was going to share this, but all of a sudden it makes a lot of sense to do it. 1 second. Listen to this, you guys. Oh, excuse me. Listen to this. Did you guys know? This is crazy. I had no idea. Did you guys know that James Comey's daughter, is Patrice Comey, okay? She's married to Christopher Wray. Did you guys know this? I was on the phone with an attorney in DC 2 weeks ago or so, and I was asking, what is the real problem here? What's really going on with the Bureau right now? And he said, Comey and Clapper and Bill Barr, they are still embedded, but mostly Clapper and Comey, still embedded completely in these agencies, and they have not relinquished control. So that's what's really happening there. They are fighting the new appointments, obviously Kash Patel, AG Bondi, they're fighting them in-house. And I'm not even sure how many people are really aware of that. Comey is still in charge. So when he issues, this was 2 weeks ago that I was told this. So when he issues a signal, a symbol, like 8647, don't think we're so stupid, but you know what? Comey does think we're stupid. He thinks we're chaff. He thinks we're morons. Take a look at what he had to say when he realized this might be seen as violent rhetoric. I posted a picture of some shells I just saw today. I just saw them. That was crazy. It was wild. They were just sitting there. It was, evolution. Oh my gosh. I assumed it was a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. Well, it's not. Comey is going to be the last person who's laughing after this because he is under investigation from every single department. They are coming after him. And if you listen to Ed Martin this morning or you listen to his intentions, James Comey is not going to hear the end of this. I think we all know exactly what he was saying, especially since President Trump has already had 3 attempted assassinations. And then you have a former, James Comey knows exactly what he's doing. Okay. He knows exactly what he's doing. And nobody doubts it. So we'll see if he's still laughing. We'll see if all of his book buyers can bail him out. See if they come through for you, Comey. All the book buyers. We'll see what happens. Anyway, definitely a story to be paying attention to right now because we're draining the swamp. It's happening. They're getting cleared out. It is going to happen. Now, before we talk about more of the swamp dwellers via the electronic voting machine companies with Jeff O'Donnell, the lone raccoon, I want to take a moment just to acknowledge our great sponsor here on America's Mom. We have been working with this company for the last 2.5 years. I've been an avid user of their products for about the last year and a half. I love it. By the way, I'm always drinking it on the side. I absolutely love it. This is a great American manufacturer. They specialize in the things that you put in, on, and around your body to make sure they are clean, they are toxin free, and they are safe for everybody in your home, from your little furry ones to your little babies crawling around on the floor. So their goal has always been to create the cleanest, safest, non-toxic products that would advance your life and definitely advance your health. You can check them out today at shopwithpatriots.com. Run over there, check it, sign up, and then a great person is going to be reaching out to you to help you join this amazing America First Club. They are great American manufacturers who are putting America first and American workers back to work. And by the way, since it was an American made company already, literally 99% of what they have, including their packaging, is created right here in the great USA. We didn't have tariffs. The prices have not changed. You will love that. Go check them out today. We all make choices every day on where we're going to spend our money, who we're going to invest in, and who we're going to support in. Guys, we need to invest in great American manufacturers, and you don't have to sacrifice quality for a fantastic product just to support America, okay? Wonderful products, amazing price. You're going to love it for yourself and for your family. Go check it out today at shopwithpatriots.com. All right, we're going to just jump right back in. We had Jeff O'Donnell on Wednesday. I had a lot of feedback from you guys. We're going to clarify a couple of points from the fourth report coming out of Mesa County that Jeff O'Donnell wrote. He is the main contributor to that report, and we're going to go over the details one more time because I just think we need to be dripped on a little bit more. We had a few questions pertaining to how the elections were run in Mesa County, who was on the ballots, how did Jeff O'Donnell come to those percentages, the cast vote records. We're going to go back over that one more time. And I want to say too, I learned so much. I learned so much on Wednesday. When you're in this world listening to election stuff all the time, you can miss the most important nuances that make the whole entire story and bring it to life. And you go, wow, that is wild. I have no idea. I had no idea. I did not know. That's a very significant piece of information. One thing being the fact that Jeff O'Donnell was not able to secure the cast vote records from the 2021 April municipal race of Grand Junction, Colorado, until just a couple months ago. That is actually shocking because you are able to ask and receive those cast vote records immediately in nearly every single state in the union. In fact, in the state of Texas, the clerks had tried to deny citizens getting their hands on the cast vote records so they could look at the records. They could look and see what had happened in the machines during the election and who voted, right? They wanted to see all of that. And clerks across the state of Texas were denying it, so much so that Ken Paxton had to come forward and actually issue a statement saying, you will provide it or you will be in huge trouble. So here we are again, Mesa County. We're going to go back and hit the high points of this number 4 report, and then we're going to jump into Arapahoe County. So Jeff O'Donnell, the lone raccoon, thank you so much for being with us again and giving us your time. I know you have a lot going on. I can't thank you enough. I think it's really critical right now for America to understand what happened in Mesa County, what happened in the Grand Junction 2021 municipal election that led to Clerk Tina Peters, a Gold Star mother, a grandmother of almost 70 years old, being thrown in prison for 9 years when she committed no crime. No crime. So let's dive in. Walk us back through report number 4. What's the significance of it? What does it demonstrate that the public needs to understand?
Thank you, Sherronna. The significance is that, report 3 from Mesa had already shown that in both the 2020 and 2021 elections, there was whatever you want to call it, an event that occurred actually during the counting of the absentee balloting, in which a significant number of ballots were reprocessed. Essentially, the machine, without being told, without anybody knowing, basically decided to take another look at thousands and thousands of ballots that had already been scanned in. And all the evidence shows that they were not treated the same way the second time. Well, what report 4, now that the cast vote record became available, it enabled us to look, and we were able to see that in the 4 city council races, in which, and you spoke very well to this on Wednesday, Sherronna, at least 3 and perhaps all 4 of those were extremely surprising, in that very, very liberal people in a very conservative area won all 4 of those races by similar margins also. The cast vote record enabled us to take a look and see that because the voters, no matter which of the 4 districts, or whichever of the districts are actually more than 4, but no matter what district they were in, they were able to vote for the races in all 4 of the races. There were 3 district races and 1 at-large race.
Well, so I want to clarify really quickly. I just want to clarify the verbiage on that. That's kind of where there was just a tiny bit of confusion. So the district itself is Grand Junction, but it is divided. It's subdivided into different regions of that district. And so if you live in the area, and a lot of you were questioning this, the districts would be like Fruita, Grand Junction, Palisade, okay? And as long as you are in that municipality of Grand Junction, you would have voted for all 4 candidates. And so I want to put the ballot up for just a second to just show everybody. Michael, if we can post that ballot up, I want you to see what this was. This is a sample ballot from the 2021 April municipal race of Grand Junction. And you're going to see that all of the candidates, can we enlarge just so we can see the left side, that column a little bit more? This is the official municipal election ballot from Tuesday, April 6th of 2021. That election. And it would be, can you enlarge that just a little bit? You have all the candidates on one ballot, and you would have been able to vote for every single, excuse me, I guess they do call it a district. I apologize. District A, District D, District E, and then the at-large city council member. If you received this ballot, you would have checked a box under each one of those. Okay. So, so just that was the confusion I was hearing a lot about, was like, no, we would have only picked one person. Those percentages don't make sense to me. Well, that's because we are only doing Grand Junction municipal race. That's it. Grand Junction, you would have been able to vote on every single potential candidate. Okay. So knowing this and seeing this, this is what the ballot looked like. You would have been able to pick either Mark McAllister or Rick Taggart. You would have been able to choose Greg Heitz or Dennis Simpson, Jody Green or Abe Herman, who, by the way, Abe Herman is the one who went through Jared Polis's governor discipleship program, by the way. And then, of course, Craig Andrews, who was an incumbent already, and Randall Reeds, who nobody ever met or saw because he wore a mask the entire time that he campaigned. Nobody knew him at all. Okay. And yet they all prevailed. It's pretty amazing. So this is the ballot. This is what it looked like. Every person who voted had the opportunity to check off every category. Okay. I guess it is called a district, but in my mind, I'm seeing it more as like a region. You've got the Grand Junction area. You could vote on every single district in that area. Okay. So just to clarify and clear that up. So now let's go back to the information that you found on the cast vote record that started to make this look really strange.
Yes. There's something I'll first use the common sense way, but this common sense is actually backed up by a lot of evidence. And that is that if you were going to vote for a conservative for one of the races, you are extremely likely to have voted for conservatives in the other races. In elections of which we've looked at millions, if not billions, of vote combinations, splitting the ticket, for instance, between Republicans and Democrats is really rare. It's 5 to 7%, at most, and when you see 10. That is very significant, and that can be an indicator. Well, what we found was that people who voted for one of the 4 conservatives, a third of the time voted for one of the liberals in the other races. It wasn't always the same one. It was spread out almost not exactly evenly, but to the naked eye, pretty evenly. That they would vote for. Essentially, they they weren't concerned whether they were conservative or liberal. They just sort of picked the other three at random. That is really what we're seeing in that, and that is not how people vote.
It's not. And Jeff, this was a slate, and the leftist. Um, sorry, Abe Herman, Randall Reitz, and Rick Taggart ran as a slate with kind of Dennis Simpson as an afterthought. They ran as a slate. Everybody knew they were running together, just as everybody knew that Jody Green, Greg Heitz, and Mark McAllister were also running on a similar slate. It was very understood in the town that there was no confusion about that. The only reason Craig Andrews wasn't necessarily on the slate is because he was an incumbent. So it was assumed he would be automatically reelected because he had name recognition and he'd already been on the board, and it made sense. That was what should have happened. Also, he was running against someone, I'm telling you, this Randall Wrights never showed his face. Even during the quote debate, if you could call it that they held, he never took his mask off. Nobody knew him. He had been in the area less than a year. Nobody voted for him. So it was understood already in the Mesa County municipal election that the left was running on a slate and the right was running on a slate. I just want to be very clear about that to you. So with common sense thinking, as you're describing, nobody would have randomly voted for Mark McAllister and then all of a sudden voted for Abe and Randall. They wouldn't have done that. It wouldn't have happened. So to your point, I just want to clarify that.
It's very, 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 very good. That's perfect. And so when you look at it, we have three pieces of strong evidence here. The first was in report 3, where we saw that about a quarter to a third of the votes were reprocessed after they had been processed the first time. Then you see these results, which very much look like they were shuffled without anybody caring, that it looked consistent throughout each individual ballot, perhaps because they didn't consider that we would have the chance to look at the cast vote record. And then, I'll point to the number 3 is that somebody looked at the results the day after that event happened with the reprocessing of the ballots, which was
let's put that up
6 days before election day, when they should have.
Yeah, let's put that up too. So people would have had their ballots. The ballots would have been sent out around April 6th or around April. That's not true. People already had their ballots. I'm sorry, I don't recall the actual mail out date. Actually, let's go to the book, the report number 4. Thank you. Let's go to the report, and what we want to see is the cast vote record. So keep going. Do we go up or down, Jeff?
It's on page. Well, keep going down. Look, it starts with previous findings. There we go. That's the right page. Keep going. Keep going. It's the bottom of that page. There it is.
Okay, and let's zoom in. Let's zoom in on these dates. So on March 31st, that's what we were referencing. Somebody peeked inside to see how many ballots had been sent in. They wanted to see not just how many ballots were sent in, but by looking at the cast vote record, you're able to see who they voted for. Is that correct? You would have a tally already.
Well, yes, and I go into some detail. What was actually done to generate the cast vote record would have given them access to all of the results. They didn't even have. They wouldn't have even had to have looked in the cast vote record. That was sort of that's part of the report generation that was done. So yes, they certainly had the cast vote record to see, but there's no doubt that at that point they knew exactly what the vote counts were in all the races.
Okay. I like what you say here in this report too, and we did put that out for everybody where they can find these reports. And I have it right here. Actually, I just want to remind everybody you can go to mesamadness.com and at least refer and defer to these pages so that you can really get a grip on what's happening here. Somebody, and this is the most important, it's never been investigated, it's never been looked into at all, but it never should have happened, right, Jeff? Nobody should have ever been able to pull a cast vote record on March 31st to take a look and see what was going on with the actual numbers for the candidates in the municipal election of Grand Junction 2021 race.
Yes, and I've spoken with other clerks in other counties who, not surprisingly, don't really want to be identified. And uniformly, their reaction was, we're not allowed to do that. That was the reaction. And I quote a Colorado statute in there, which actually leads to the fourth piece of evidence of the three that I mentioned. And that is what you brought up on Wednesday, that apparently at least one of the campaigns had foreknowledge of the results on election day before Clerk Tina Peters did.
That's right. That's right. And she called me after our show, actually, and said, I want to come on. I want to tell exactly what happened. She's already signed an affidavit that she intended to be used in court. She actually signed, she was ready to be a witness on behalf of Clerk Peters at the trial and was rejected. So she's not being silent about it at all. I mean, and it's not it's not an easy thing to get up and say, this is what I heard, this is what I saw. And she has multiple witnesses to her talking about it right afterwards. So she had not been involved in Mesa County. Nobody knew her. She was brand new to the area, happened to be at this after party and hear this information. So there's no reason for her to my point is there's no reason for her to like create something because she wasn't a part of any political anything. She didn't even know if she was at a Republican or Democrat event. She had no idea. So it's extremely authentic. And actually she had come to me. I didn't know her. She showed up at the event that we hosted shortly after that election with Dr. Doug Frank. And she said, hey, I have this information and I just think it's weird. What do you think? And she tells me, and I'm like, you need to go talk to the clerk. I have no idea. I don't know if people can know ahead because people seem to know ahead. Jeff, that's something else I always like when you're listening to election night reporting. How do they always know where things are at ahead of time? There's no way they can know where the election stands before the clerk is supposed to know at 7 p.m. whenever the election wraps. And I've always thought that's so weird. So even when she was telling me this story, I was like, I don't know. I don't know, because it seems like they report to us who's winning before the election's called. So I don't know, and they have their ways and they're guessing, right? And they're doing whatever. But that was a huge point. And just to remind those who are watching too, on the report that you've written here in report 4, you do give the Colorado Revised Statute 1-75-107.5. It's a 1-7.5-107.5 that says the election official in charge of the mail ballot counting place shall take all precautions necessary to ensure the secrecy of the counting procedures, and no information concerning the count shall be released by the election officials or watchers until after 7 p.m. on election day. You have evidence right here from the cast vote records demonstrating somebody interfered in an election, somebody got this information leading up to the election, and they have violated both state and federal law.
It's really,
where's our investigation?
This is an amazing thing because when you look at it in terms of an investigation, we have everything. We have the means, we have evidence that it happened. We have before the election day. We have the, as you said, the person who says that they were told what the results were going to be. It just all comes together in ways that maybe I've never seen in one particular county and election before. And by the way, this isn't the only time I've heard of this, people knowing the results before election day. I'm sure that's not going to come as a shock. But there was one case in Arizona, in a county in there, in which the winner of a particular election was bragging loudly the morning of the election, basically saying that he knew how many votes he won by. People don't, of course, people just, it goes one ear and out the other with judges and that sort of thing. which is a sad thing. But in this case, we basically have the whole picture now.
Yeah. We have the whole picture now. So to be able to revisit this and demand an investigation in Mesa County's April 2021 municipal election, that it actually be investigated. We have this all been put together. Hey, guess what, Todd Rowell? Sheriff, you won't even have to do any work. Jeff O'Donnell has done it all for you. All you have to do is just actually follow exactly what's here and investigate based off this evidence. That's it. That's all you need to do. And someone needs to be prosecuted. I think my favorite thing right now for Mesa County in general is how they are going after this is one of the most craziest stories happening in Colorado right now. You're going to talk about a crazier one in Arapahoe County in just a minute, but the District Attorney Dan Rubenstein and Sheriff Todd Rowell are going after a business owner right now who supposedly cast a ballot for her son on her son's behalf after he told her how to vote for him because he was sitting in jail. And the son gets mad at the mother because she won't bail him out of jail, and decides to say that she turned his ballot in without his permission. The story is so bizarre, and they're going after this woman and trying to absolutely destroy her life. They've called her a crazy Trump supporter. That is the lack of professionalism from Dan Rubenstein's office. James Cannon calls her a crazy Trump supporter. Crazy Trump supporters like you just won't let this election thing go. It is baffling. That's how they choose to spend their time, energy, and resources, quote, investigating election crime. It's unbelievable.
One
Unbelievable.
One vote's obviously important, but 25,000 votes is
Right. And that's what we're looking at for both the 2020 election, which again, I always have to say this, I always have to preface this, Jeff, because, the outcome of the 2021 municipal election was so concerning that it brought out hundreds of people to canvass for months. They came out day after day after day for well over 5 months in Mesa County. They were subjected to unbelievable nonsense by League of Women Voters, by Jenna Griswold herself, by the local psychopath Ann Landman and her, blue-haired freaks. They were subjected to a lot of nonsense. And yet every day they came out and they canvassed because they knew that election, there was no way that it happened. There was no way that those results were correct. And what you've effectively done by bringing forth this cast vote record is at least demonstrating someone broke state and federal law. There should be an investigation until they figure it out. Until they figure out and identify who did this, why they did this, and how did Rick Taggart's campaign manager know 30 minutes before everybody else did that their quote slate had won. That's what we want to know now. And Rick Taggart, by the way, is serving as representative in the state house in Colorado right now. So there you go. Let's move on to Arapahoe because I know you've got more. I mean, this is not conspiracy. This is established information, guys. By the way, we're not dealing in conspiracies and projections on things. This literally is what has happened. Walk us through what just went down in Arapahoe County.
Yeah,
Colorado.
It was kind
Colorado
of last minute. I sent you a PDF. I don't know if you received it and are able to show it.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, if you can say so. What happened? Go to the last page if you would, because people might be interested in seeing. This is what a cast vote record looks like. We talk about it a lot. I think. Okay,
we
this
can
is
shrink it down a bit.
Okay, I did send a new version, but that's okay. Because last breaking information happened here.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Maybe I can send that over.
But while you're looking at what happened is that Arapahoe County, Colorado, produced its cast vote record for the 2020 election. We've had it for a long time. I generated reports. Actually, it's listed as one of the Mesa County, Mesa pattern counties in my fingerprints of fraud report, which shows that I believe that the mail-in ballots were, let's just say, not true. That's what was shown there. Well, a gentleman, I could say, named Ed Solomon, who's a brilliant mathematician, had found. He speaks to it all the time, so you can find the information. But he had found a pattern, a different pattern in that county's data, in which two of the races, the presidential race and an amendment, Constitutional Amendment B, which was a tax related thing, moved in what he called parallel motion. If you look at what happened, the two move in lockstep as far as who voted for what presidential candidate and then who voted for that tax levy. Which it's just, he has a lot of evidence there. But what this leads to is someone realized, I'm not sure who, or maybe it was Ed, maybe it was someone else, that Arapahoe, who had published a cast vote record on their actual county website, had changed that cast vote record file and changed it significantly. One column, the column that says how the votes are cast, whether it's by mail or in person, and that had been removed completely. And then the thing had been resorted so that it was not in the order of the cast vote record number anymore. And what I was able to go on and prove was that they actually changed the results of the very far down ballot things. The propositions, amendments, we're still evaluating, perhaps a couple with a very low races. Like if you just looked at the two files, and we're only looking at like the presidential and the Senate race and the House representative race, they looked identical if you sorted them by cast vote record number. But what you then found was that those numbers for the again, the propositions and the amendments and those other very far down ballot things had been changed so that the numbers were pretty much the same if you added them up, but they were no longer attached to the same ballots that they were in the first file. And what that means is it destroyed that parallel motion that Ed Solomon had found. Now this is being used in a court case upcoming. Actually in Nevada, I believe. I could be corrected on that, but I believe.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, walk us back one more time. I'm sorry. You guys are so much smarter. I can't imagine
I
thinking
understand.
in numbers and like seeing
I know,
patterns in everything. It's just unbelievable. I am that person that can't, like, it is very difficult for me to wrap my mind around this stuff. Okay. So walk me back through. We have Arapahoe County. They have their original cast vote record. And then why were you guys looking into the cast vote record in the first place in Arapahoe County? What brought your attention or made you think there was anything wrong in the first place? Is it just part of a standard? You're just evaluating county by county after elections? Or was there something about the outcome of Arapahoe County elections that had you guys looking into it in the first place?
I don't know the quite answer to that. I don't know what exactly drew Ed's attention, particularly to look at this. I do know that he has been looking at a lot of things, as a lot of us have, and he did spot this particular pattern. It's kind of funny, I found patterns, he finds patterns. They're different. This kind of just pops out. If you look at it a different way, it looks, something else comes out that doesn't look right about it. And he found this, but he did find it. And I guess the way to describe what they did to the cast vote record is, imagine that you have a spreadsheet, and you have 100 lines in that spreadsheet, and there's a 1 if the person voted for something, and a 0 if they didn't. Okay, and let's say you had 50 of those, so you added it up and it was 50. Let's say then you grabbed those 100 for that, and you just shuffled them and put them back in a different order. They would still add up to 50, but they wouldn't be in the same lines in the spreadsheet anymore. They would be in different lines.
Okay, so what you're talking about, the down ballot measures, when they mixed that up, they were moving the yay or nay vote for that measure. Is that what we're seeing?
They were assigning those votes to different ballots.
Okay.
So instead of like if you took the cast vote record and you took it and you created what the ballot would have been that created that cast vote record, which you can do with the data that's there. If you did that for a record in the first one, and then you did it with a record for the second one, the same record on the second one, you would see that all the ovals were in the same spot at the major races, but in these minor, nothing's really minor, but in the lower ticket races, you would see the ovals were different. And the only reason I can think of to do that would have been because to break that pattern that Ed found between the presidential race and that Amendment B. Because now, if you take that spreadsheet now, or that cast vote record now, and run that same analysis, it doesn't. There's no pattern. So that pattern was removed. Now, the interesting thing now, this has been quite a thing. If you could bring that, can you bring now up that PDF? You had it up on a second ago. Okay, can you shrink it down a bit and then go to the last page, and you'll see this happened a couple of days ago.
And the very last page has a
there we
lot
go.
of
yeah. Can you shrink that Arapahoe County page down? So
it actually came to us looking like that, but Jeff, I do have that document right here, and
okay.
I can read from that. Would you like me to read from that?
Please read it. It's hilarious.
Okay, I don't even know anything, and I did laugh out loud. I'm like, this is their excuse. So this is from
the proper reaction to this is to laugh.
Good. Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay, that means I'm understanding more than I realized. The Arapahoe County, this is official statement from the Clerk and Recorder's Office on or about October 29th of 24. Mr. Shiro Kiriwaki, an assistant professor at Yale University, notified the Clerk and Recorder's Office that he suspected there were errors published in the 2020 general election cast vote record, suggesting the errors were likely due to mistakes made during the redaction process. Arapahoe County election staff conducted a review that confirmed Mr. Kiriwaki's hypothesis and performed a new redaction of the original unredacted cast vote record, then uploaded the corrected cast vote record to arapahoevotes.gov. I thought so he says it must have gotten messed up during the redaction process, and then they say they performed a new redaction off the original quote unredacted cast vote. What the hell are they saying? I have no idea what they're saying.
Well, evidently there's this guy named Mr. Shiro Kiriwaki at Yale who is overseeing our elections now, because he noticed. You asked what made the researchers look at it. I wonder what made him want to look at it. Okay, is he like a godlike figure that is now looking over all of our elections? It just happened to.
They're pulling their funding, Jeff. The feds are pulling Yale's funding. This is what it's come down to. They're all like, CYA, quick, cover it up.
And we've requested the methodology. In other words, if what made him say that there was mistakes made during the redaction process, because that is critical information right there that's not in this. We need to know what it was he saw, if he did, if this whole thing isn't a brilliant fiction.
So the rest of the story right now, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but I did get a message. Arapahoe, after this, Arapahoe just so happened to retroactively alter their cast vote record in the middle of this other case you're talking about in Nevada that's going on with Ed Solomon. And so now they're considering it tampering with evidence, and now the FBI is entering the case. Arapahoe
excellent.
Is in big
breaking
trouble.
Information here.
Breaking information right now.
Tremendous.
Ed's and we that's a huge gratitude to Ed Solomon and the work that he's doing just it's been so amazing, isn't it? Like you've alluded to this, and I've tried to help people understand this sometimes when they want to get all conspiratorial about these issues of trying to understand what has happened since the 2020 election. And everybody has had parts of it, and it's like it's you're building this Lego house, for lack of a better word that I can understand, a castle, and everybody's had a brick of it, and finally everybody's bricks are coming together, and it's so undeniable now that this is in fact a house, that they built a house of lies, that they stole elections, they manipulated down ballot your city council race. I mean, it's all coming together. Jeff, when you see stuff like this after all the years you've spent personally and the personal sacrifice to you and your family and the crazy psychos that would come out of the woodwork to just try to obliterate everything that you were doing and those who were involved with this with you, how do you feel?
Oh, I mean, it's easy to feel vindicated, but I've known it was true from the beginning, so nothing has really changed except now it's finally like a little bit of a deep breath. That does not change the wackos from coming out of the woodwork. If I may, real quick, just people understand what the redaction process is. Some counties will remove very small precincts from the cast vote record. The reason they do that is if you've got like 5 people who voted, the concern is if all 5 of them voted for Trump, let's say, then you've broken voter secrecy because they know that everyone who voted for Trump, and they know that. Okay, so this whole nobody cares about voter secrecy unless it's unless they can use it to hide this evidence. But what we've seen here is evidence tampering. If they're why did they remove the column showing how the vote was cast? Okay, they didn't the first time. In fact, that's a very unusual thing to do. Yes. is to remove that column. Why did they? There's a couple. They don't add up completely. There's in these very far down ballot propositions, and that there's differences of up to 10 votes between the 2 versions. So if they both came from the original, yet oddly enough, they each had the same number of lines in the spreadsheet. That to me is another thing. It's like it's almost like if they were creating this thing, they're like, all right, has the same number of lines. We're good. Ship it.
They were
Nobody
people like
will ever notice.
Yeah, they were people like me, or like not me, but I mean, not smart, amazingly scientific people like you. These people they were schemers. They did not think about that somebody like you would come along who actually can look at this stuff, or Ed Solomon can look at this stuff and say that's not right. Something's off here. Something's wrong. You know what they were hoping? They were hoping people were so stupid and they were naive, that they trusted their government, that they would just believe what was put before them. And those days are so over. They're over. The American people don't trust election clerks anymore. They don't. And they're tired of being gaslit. They're tired of people being in these positions who don't go to bat for them. You've presented evidence of a crime in Mesa County, and I have heard nothing about an investigation as of today. Nothing. It's going to end. This is all ending. The FBI is now involved under Kash Patel, and there's actually decent people working in this division for election crime, and it's not going to stand. It's not going to stand. We are at the end of our time. Jeff O'Donnell, I want to thank you so much for you're just so tenacious. You just don't quit. You just don't stop. I just appreciate you very much and all the work and the effort. I know you knew from day one, but a lot of people said they've known and they didn't stick around for the ending. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Sherronna.
Appreciate you. All right, everybody. Well, we are at the end of our time together today on America's Mom. I hope you will share this out. Ed Solomon's going to be joining us on Monday, along with the whistleblower who was present for the reporting of the results from the Mesa County Grand Junction municipal race of April 2021. She is the sounding alarm that they knew already who had won that election before Clerk Tina Peters pulled it at 7 p.m. that night. You are not going to want to miss Monday's show either. Please take this, share it out, start educating the public. We need to take a stand. It's time for Dan Rubenstein to actually investigate election crime along with Sheriff Todd Rowell. It's time. These crimes are not going away. They're still here, and we're not letting this go. We're not letting it go. You put a woman in prison for 9 years, and you know she did not commit a crime. We're not letting